So for the first day, the agenda is there will be introduction to pen testing, right? Then there will be reconnaissance and information gathering, exploitation and privilege escalation techniques we'll see, and we'll understand the penetration testing interview process, right? So this is the agenda for the day. So let's start with what is penetration testing. Okay, so if we talk about penetration testing so penetration testing is like hiring a skilled locksmith to try breaking into your house so that you can fix the weak spots before the real thief shows up. It's a control simulation of a cyber attack which is designed to uncover vulnerabilities in systems, networks, or applications before attackers exploit them, right? So that is an example, but what exactly it is? So it is a security assessment where ethical hackers, or you call them pen testers, mimic the real world attacks. The goal is to identify and exploit weaknesses in a system's defenses safely and legally. So it helps the organization to understand how far an attacker could go and what damage they could cause, right? So that is penetration testing. Now, there are strategies of penetration testing. Now, when we are talking about strategies of penetration testing, before that, one more thing I want to add, there are stages of penetration testing. Can anyone tell me what are the stages in pen testing? So, the very first thing or very first stage in penetration testing is planning and reconnaissance, right? So in planning and reconnaissance, what you will do, you will define the scope, goals, and rules of engagement. You will gather the intel like domain names, IP ranges, and system architecture, right? Then second step you will do is scanning. Now scanning means using the tools like Nmap or Nessus to probe for open ports and vulnerabilities. Then you will perform static and dynamic analysis of the applications if you are testing an application. Then next is gaining access, right? So you will exploit the flaws or misconfigurations like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, or any other kind of vulnerability that is there. Try privilege escalation and lateral movement, right? Then next is maintaining access. Now, once you have got the access of the system, it does not mean that forever that access will be there, right? Maybe the vulnerability will be found by the application developer and application developer fixes that vulnerability. Then what you will do? Should have another way, another door through which you can get inside the organization. Yes or no? So for that, you will maintain the access. You will simulate persistent threats to see how long an attacker could stay undetected, right? You will deploy backdoors. You will install malwares in the system so that through them you can enter the system, right? Once you are done with that, then reporting. So in the reporting, you will document all the findings, exploited vulnerabilities, and remediation steps. You will provide risk rating and mitigation strategies, that what vulnerabilities you found and how you will mitigate those vulnerabilities. Then we have different types of pen test, right? So there are generally three strategies of pen testing. The very first one, white box. White box pen testing means you have full access to system details, right? So this is also called known environment testing. That means the organization is giving 100% information, the username, the password, the source code, everything to the tester. Now tester has to find out what flaws are there. Yes. Then we have black box testing, which is unknown environment testing. Right? Now, unknown environment means the tester has no prior knowledge. So the tester will be simulating as an external attacker. Yes. So the tester will be having no information. The tester has to perform reconnaissance, gather a lot of information, use that information to perform the attack. Yes, that is black box. Then the last one we have is gray box pen testing. So gray box means partially known environment. So you don't have 100% idea about the organization, but you are a semi-privileged user of the organization. Now, once you are a semi-privileged user of the organization, so you have to perform reconnaissance partially. Some information you already have, and some information you'll have to gather. Then you will find out the use that information to find out the vulnerabilities and exploit the vulnerabilities. Yes. So these are the three strategies of pen testing. Have you heard of goal-oriented penetration testing? Now, goal-oriented penetration testing is a type of pen testing where it is defined that what is your goal. So let's say if I'm saying that your goal is to steal the credit card details of the customers of a web application. Let's say Amazon, I'm giving you that you have to try to find a vulnerability which through which you can get the credit card details of the customers, right? So that is called goal oriented penetration testing. I've given you a goal, right? Now you have to fulfill it. Find the vulnerability, do reconnaissance, and exploit the vulnerability. Yes, that is goal oriented penetration testing. Then we have compliance oriented. Now, what is a compliance? How will you define compliance? So, compliance means that there are some regulatory laws that you need to follow for the privacy of the customer's data. So, many of the organizations they store the customer data. Now, when they are storing the customer data, what they do is they need to secure it. No one else should have it. Like we have, let's say, our personal health information, right? So the your personal doctor or your family doctor or your the hospital that you visit, so they have your information, right? Now, if they have the information about you, then that information need to be secure. Yes. Now, if the information is, let's say, shared with anyone, so they have to face the hospital or the doctor has to face legal consequences, right? So there are compliances which tell that what you need to do. So let's say you are storing the financial data of a customer like credit card details or debit card details. Then you use PCI-DSS. You follow PCI-DSS compliance. Payment card industry data security standard. Yes. Then if you are having the data of let's say health information like hospitals and all they follow HIPAA, right? So HIPAA tells that none of the data of the patient should be shared with anyone. So that is compliance. Now, when we are talking about compliance oriented testing, compliance oriented penetration testing. So, compliance oriented penetration testing means that I am testing if the organization is meeting all the requirements of the compliance, whatever the compliance says, if they are following this that thing or not, right? Then we have red team oriented. Now, when we talk about red team oriented penetration testing, so the red team oriented penetration testing means that you are following the footsteps of the attackers, right? So there are multiple attackers, many famous groups. Heard of MITRE attack framework? So now, when we are talking about MITRE attack framework, let me show you. There are some groups, right? And these are called APT groups, Advanced Persistent Threat Groups, right? So multiple cybersecurity attacks are done by these groups, and they have taken charge of it. That, yeah, we are the ones who did that, right? So in 2021, if you remember, there was a SolarWinds attack, SolarWinds hack. So that was done by whom? APT Group 29, which goes by the name Cozy Bear. Yes. So these groups, they have some specific techniques that they perform, specific tools that they use, right? So like they did Operation Ghost, right? SolarWinds compromise. So what techniques they have used? Account discovery, domain account. So they obtain a list of users and their roles and exchange server. So not every single technique is used. There are some specific techniques that they use, right? So let me show you. Now, at the top, you can see all the tactics, right? Not all, but tactics: reconnaissance, resource development, initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, command and control, exfiltration, and impact, right? Now, the ones which are highlighted in blue, these are the techniques that they use. So let's say I want to find out if my organization is vulnerable to the attack of APT group 29. Then what will I do? I will follow the footsteps, whatever techniques they use, whatever tools they use. If I'm able to perform the attack and get inside the organization, that means yes, I'm vulnerable and I will secure my organization. That is called red team oriented penetration testing. So these are the types of penetration testing. Next, we have penetration testing methodology and standards. So there are many organizations which give you the methodology that how to perform the pen test, what things to take care of, right? So there is an organization OASP, right? OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project, and this is a non-profitable organization which started in 2001. What they did in 2001, they developed and released an application. So people from all over the world, they started attacking this web application developed by OWASP, and the people in OWASP, they started categorizing those attacks. Now, when they started categorizing those attacks, then they came up with a list of top 10 vulnerabilities exploited by the attackers. And if you are safe from those vulnerabilities, so maximum of your organization is safe. Nothing is 100% safe in this world, but yes, maximum of your organization is safe, right? That's what OWASP is. Now, what OWASP does, it provides security testing guide, that how to perform the testing, right? What to do. So the phases, if we talk about in the OWASP testing phases, so first phase is information gathering. Now, when we talk about information gathering, it means identify technologies, endpoints, and potential attack surfaces. Gather every single information about the target. Gather the subdomains, the emails, whatever you are able to find out, right? Then you will do configuration testing. Configuration testing means check for misconfigurations, default settings, and outdated components, right? Then authentication testing. Now, in authentication testing, you will assess the login mechanism, brute force resistance, multi-factor authentication implementation, right? Then we have session management testing. Now, session management means you will evaluate the session tokens, the cookies, the timeout policies, how the application is managing the session, how it is taking care of, how it is not allowing the users to interfere with each other's data, multiple users, right? So how it is handling that, that you have to test. If found some vulnerability, you can exploit, right? Authorization testing. What is authorization? How will you define authorization? Authorization means what privileges you have assigned to the user, right? So you have multiple users, right? So you have admin users also, you have some users who are just normal users, right? So authorization plays a role in determining the rights or the privileges the user has. Yes. So you will do authorization testing. Then input validation testing. Input validation means that whatever input the user is giving, if the application is validating it, checking if it is uh, a proper input or not. So there can be multiple vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, or command injection kind of vulnerabilities, right? Then you have error handling testing. So you will look for verbose error messages that leak the sensitive information, right? You will generate the errors deliberately, right? Then business logic testing. Detect flaws in the workflows like bypassing the payment or approval steps. And then you will also do client side testing, right? So analyze the vulnerabilities which are there like JavaScript security, HTML5 vulnerabilities, and then you can exploit, right? So this is the methodology given by OWASP. Then we have NIST. NIST is another organization and it stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. Now, NIST pen testing methodology is a gold standard for structured, compliance driven security assessment, right? So, it provides a repeatable framework for conducting technical security tests across the systems, networks, and applications, right? So, NIST has four phases only, right? The first phase is planning. Now, planning means scope determination you will do. Identify the assets, systems, and boundaries that you want to safeguard. Rules of engagement, set the timelines, the escalation protocols, and data handling rules. Then, authorization, ensure legal compliance and stakeholder sign off. Team prep, assign the roles, select the tools, and define the success criteria. Then, you have discovery. Now, when we talk about discovery, so it, there you will do information gathering. Use the network scans, gather the information which is publicly available over the internet about your target, right? Vulnerability identification, run the automated scans or manual scans using the tools like Nessus and Nmap to find out vulnerabilities. And then you will do threat modeling also. What is threat modeling? So threat modeling is what it is, a structured process for identifying, analyzing, and mitigating potential security threats to systems, applications, or business processes. So it helps the organizations to understand their security posture, prioritize risk, and implement appropriate countermeasures. Right? So it is a proactive approach to security rather than reactive. So it helps to identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses before they can be exploited. Right? So that you will do in discovery. Then arrives your attack phase. Now in attack phase, what you will do, you will simulate real world attacks, right? Privilege escalation you will do, right? Elevate your privileges from a normal user to admin user or a normal user to another normal user. Lateral movement, move from one system to another. And at the end, you will do reporting. Now in reporting, what you will do, you will write comprehensive documentation, right? Include the findings, impacts, and evidence. Risk assessment, give the rate, how much severe the vulnerability is, which you have exploited, right? And the remediation guidance, that how you will remediate the vulnerability. Yes. So that is what? That is your nest. Next arrives your PTES. PTES stands for Penetration Testing Execution Standard. So it is a robust industry recognized framework that outlines a comprehensive approach to conducting pen test. So it's especially valuable for ensuring consistency, depth, and professionalism in engagements. It is having seven phases. So the very first phase is called pre-engagement interaction, right? So you will define the rules of engagement, the scope boundaries, and emergency contact, clarify legal permission and data handling protocols. Then after that, intelligence gathering. Now you will use tools for gathering the information, right? Focus on network mapping, DNS enumeration, employee profiling, right? Then arrives your threat modeling. right? So in threat modeling, you will analyze the business processes, asset value, and attacker motivation. So it helps to prioritize targets based on realistic threat scenarios, right? Then vulnerability analysis. So combine the automated scans like NISS, OpenVAS with manual probing, identify misconfigurations, outdated software, or insecure protocols. Then you will do the exploitation. Now, when we are talking about exploitation, you will use frameworks like Cobalt Strike, Metasploit, Burp Suite, demonstrate real-world attack paths without causing the harm. Then post-exploitation. So post-exploitation means simulate data exfiltration, privilege persistence, and network pivoting, assess business impact, and potential for long-term compromise. And then you will do the reporting at the end. So include the executive summaries, the technical details, the proof of concept. Tailor the reports for both technical teams and non-technical stakeholders. Yes. So these are the steps in PTES. Then we have ISAF, Information System Security Assessment Framework. So there is a open information system security group, right, who developed this ISAF methodology, right? It is not generally used nowadays because it is outdated, right? So it has three core phases. First phase, planning and preparation. In planning and preparation, you will define the scope, legal agreements, communication channels, and logistics. Then assessment. Conduct technical testing across multiple layers and targets. And then we have reporting and cleanup. So deliver the findings, remove the artifacts, and sanitize system after the test. Right? These are the general three steps that are used in ISAF. Then we have OSSTMM, Open Source Security Testing Methodology Manual. So it is a rigorous scientific framework for conducting assessment across multiple domains. And it is developed by Institute for Security and Open Methodologies. So it's designed to measure operational security, not just find vulnerabilities. Right? So OSSTMM does what? It breaks the security testing into five channels. Right? Now those five channels are DataSec, that means data networks, wired infrastructure networks, protocols and services. ComSec, that means telecommunications, voice and digital communication systems, right? Like VoIP. SpecSec, that is wireless, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, radio frequency, and other wireless technologies. Then HUMSEC, human security, social engineering, insider threats, and personal awareness. And PhysSec, right? That is for physical security, access control, surveillance, physical barriers, right? So this is what these are the five channels. So each channel include specific test modules and metrics to evaluate visibility. Now, when we talk about OSSTMM and the steps in OSSTMM, so the first step is information phase, gather documentation, system details, and scope definition. Then interactive testing, actively test controls, authentication, access mechanism, process testing, evaluate security awareness, incident handling, and operational workflows, right? Then configuration testing, assess patching, hardening, and system setup, right? Whatever configurations are there, if there are any misconfiguration vulnerabilities present. And the last thing that you do is result analysis. Document the findings and generate metrics based reports, right? So that's what you will do in OSSTMM, right? So these are the pen testing methodology and standards which we use. Perfect. Next thing that we have is penetration testing execution standard. Now, when we are talking about penetration testing execution standard, that how what are the phases of penetration testing? Like every methodology that we have discussed, every methodology has told that what uh, steps we will be taking, right? So there are some general steps. First is pre-engagement phase, where you will be talking about the scope planning and scoping of the pen test, the tools, right? Then we have intelligence gathering, where the tester will be gathering the information about the target organization, like subdomains, the emails, everything. Then we have threat modeling. Threat modeling means that you are working with the vulnerability, right? Finding out the vulnerabilities. So it is a process of identifying, analyzing, and mitigating security threats to the systems and applications. Then vulnerability analysis. What we do in vulnerability analysis? Anyone? So vulnerability analysis means that you will find out the vulnerabilities using the tools. Let's say you are using Nessus, OpenVAS kind of tools, and you are scanning the application or scanning the devices in the network for the vulnerabilities. Then you will try to exploit those vulnerabilities in the exploitation phase, right? Whatever vulnerabilities your tool has given, those vulnerabilities will be exploiting. Then after once you have exploited the vulnerability, you will go inside the machine, take the access of the machine, and then you will just get the access. And you will try to find out more vulnerabilities. You will again do the in like reconnaissance inside the network, so that you have again to find out a way by which you can move laterally from one system to another. Right. After that, the last phase that you have is reporting phase, where you will be documenting all the findings, whatever you have found, right? So those findings you will be writing in the doc reports, right? Provide the report and done. So these are the phases that you use. Next we have is footprinting. So footprinting means gathering the information about the target, right? So there are two types of footprinting, active and passive. Active means you are actively interacting with the target. That means I'm sending some probes to the target and the target is replying back to it. That is active. Passive means the target is not aware that you are gathering the information. So let's say I try to find out information over the internet, right? So on Google, I'm trying to find out information about your website, and in multiple websites, I'm trying to find out the subdomains or the emails about your website. You are not aware about it. That is what? That is passive footprinting. Now, if you have to gather information about someone, then how will you find out? You will find out the information on Google. Yes. So let's say if I ask you that you have to gather information about an organization, uh, the name of the organization is Evil Corp LLC. Right? This is the name of the organization. I'm giving you guys 10 minutes to gather or find out information that will help me in physically getting inside the organization. Right? So you have to go to Google, open your browsers, find out any information about this organization that will help me in getting inside the organization physically. I can just walk inside the organization. So you have to find that out. So when you search for Evil Corp LLC, there is an Instagram account it is showing you, right? Erin McMahon. And this is the user or the employee of Evil Corp LLC. What she did is she uploaded a photo, a picture of her laptop, and beside her laptop, if you open this picture, if you have Instagram, so you will see that there is the badge of it, the badge of Erin McMahon. So that badge you have to find out below that badge, if you will see, so it is written that your enumeration is strong, young one. Right? So this is the solution for it. Then you can find out information through multiple search engines like Google. We searched in Bing also. You can do the search. Yahoo also, Baidu also, DuckDuckGo also. Now there is something called Google Docs. Now Google Docs are what the this is the efficient way of using Google and finding out information. So when you search for anything over Google, so you will get lots of results. But if you want to uh, find out information, right, efficiently, then you use Docs. Now, whenever you search anything on Google, let me show you. Let's say I'm searching for a name, right? Now, when I'm searching for a name, it gave me the output. In the output, there are multiple things, if you can see. So the very first thing here at the top that you can see, this is called URL, right? The one in blue that you see, this is called title, and the one below in gray color written, this is called text. So URL, title, and text are the part of Google Doc, right? So what you can do if you want to specifically search, so you can write in URL colon and whatever you want to search. So in the URL, the same name will be written. It will give you only the links, only the output, where in the URL this name is written, right? If you want it in title, then you can write in title. So in all the titles, the name Sunil Thakur is written, right? If you want it in text, in the place of text, so you will see Sunil Thakur written in the text also everywhere, right? So these are called Google Docs. If I want to create my own doc, that also I can do. Let's say I'm writing movie Titanic and site drive.google.com. So all the drives which are like public drives which have the movie Titanic present will be shown in the output. So this is Google Docs. So there is a whole database of Google hacking database. It is called GHDB, right? And these are the docs, right? So you can use the list for the docs from here. Then we have archive.org. Now, sometimes what happens, the information that you are looking for, that information is not available on the website of the organization. But whenever organization is new, right? So I want to attract customers. And when I want to attract the customers, then I have to upload lot of information about me so that they can contact me as well. Yes. So once the business is grown, then you start removing the data. Yes. But maybe when you started the business, when the website was new, you added a lot of information there. So there is a website called archive.org, or you also call it Wayback Machine. So it is Internet Archive Library where you can search for anything. Let's say infosectrain.com. Let's see what it gives. So it gave me from 2017, right? On September 25th, there is one snapshot for the website. Now, if I click on that snapshot, I will be able to see how the website looked like in 2017. Now, if you see, the website looked like something like this, right? It's still loading, but From this place, if you want to gather some information, you can get information. Yes, that is what that is how you can get the information from Wayback Machine or archive.org, which we call. Next thing that we have is privilege escalation. Now, when we talk about privilege escalation means that you are a normal user. From normal user, either you are becoming another normal user or you are becoming root user. So if you are a normal user, Mary, and you executed some script and you got the privileges of Peter, another normal user. That is called horizontal privilege escalation. But if you are a user Mary and you elevated your privileges to administrator, you executed a script and you became admin, right? That is called vertical privilege escalation. Yes. Now let me show you how that privilege escalation is done. Now there is a target operating system that I have in my network, right? And it has already given me a username and password, right? So I found the IP of that target machine, and then after finding out the IP, we'll quickly find out the open ports, right? So in the open ports, you can see there is only one port open, which is 22 SSH, right? So through SSH, you will be able to connect, right? So what I will do, we have a framework called Metasploit framework. Now, Metasploit framework is a very famous framework among the pen testers, among the security researchers, and attackers also, right? So it helps you to find out more information. It helps you to perform the exploitation, multiple things, right? So there is an auxiliary SSH underscore login, right? Now, auxiliary does not give you the access directly, but it checks whether the username and password combination is working or not. And then we can upgrade the session and get the access of the target machine if the username and password combination worked, right? How we can do that? So we'll just write use 0. The code for the auxiliary is picked up. Then you have to set the R host. R host means the IP of the target machine, right? Then I'm writing set username as start and set password as here, and then exploit. So once I do the exploit, it says success, right? That means the username and the password is working. Next thing, what I will do is I'll check the sessions running, and there is a session ID 2 running. Right, so I'll write sessions hyphen u2 for upgrading the session, right? Now, once the session will be upgraded, a new session will be created and I will be able to access it. Now, if I write the command sessions again, you can see IDs, a third session is created. So sessions hyphen I for interaction and third session. And I'm in the target machine, right? Now, once I'm inside the target machine, What I will do, this is Meterpreter. Meterpreter is a payload of Metasploit framework, which basically gives you the access, but it sits between the target machine and your Kali Linux machine. So many of the commands will not work here. So we'll take the shell access. So I'll write shell, and then there is a Python command, Python hyphen C import pty semicolon pty dot spawn, and I want the access of the bash shell. So I'm logged in as the user start, right? Now I'll go to the file system and I will try to find out inside the whole file system hyphen type f. That means I'm trying to find out a file having permission 777. That means read write execute for everyone, and this 2 greater than is called error redirection operator. So if there is any error, if this command throws any error, that error won't be shown to us, but that error will be sent to a file called null file inside dev directory. It gave me an output that there is a file with and then there is a file goldstar.txt. Now what I want is I want to download these files to my own system. So just copy the name, write download and paste. Done. It's downloaded. Right? Second file, just copy the path for the file and download and paste. Right. Now, if we see here, goldstar.txt is here, withshadow.cap is here. Right? Now, the extension for this file is cap. That means this is packet captured. Packet captured from the network. Right? So let's see what kind of packets are those. So we will use Wireshark for what? For checking that what kind of file it is, what data is there. Right. So I've written Wireshark space with shadow dot cap. Now here if you see it shows the source TP link technology protocol 802.11. So 802.11 means that it is wireless traffic, right? So if it is a wireless traffic, someone connected to the Wi-Fi, so there might be password also present. And we have a file goldstar.txt, right? So if I write nano goldstar.txt, so you can see these these look like a list of a password, right? So what we can do, I can use a tool 𝐅𝐸𝐾𝐳, give it the wordless goldstar.txt and ask the tool that from which shadow.cap find out the password, any password which is traveling. So if you see here, it started calculating the password, right? Now once it starts calculating the password, when it gets the password, right, it will give you the password after cracking, right? So it will take around 30 minutes, 35 minutes to crack, right? But let me just Now, once it will crack the password, it will give you the password, but we have to find out for which user the password is. So all the user profiles are present in home directory. I go to slash home, I write ILS, and I can see there is a user with shadow. The name of the file was also with shadow. So what I will do, su with shadow, and then it is asking for the password, and I'm logged in as the user with shadow. This is called privilege escalation. I have escalated my privileges from a normal user to another normal user. Layman terms means you are a user of an organization. I am also the user, employee in the same organization. You have some privileges. I also have some privileges, and I just executed some script and I'm able to access your device. So that is privilege escalation. Whatever privileges you have, I have taken them over. No, the start user was already there, Rodolfo. You can practice them on Hack the Box, try Hack Me kind of platforms, or there's a platform One Hub from where you can download the machines and then practice. Right. Now the last thing for the day we have is penetration testing interview process. Now, if you have background in cybersecurity and cryptography, right? So you'll likely be expected to go beyond surface level answers and demonstrate hands-on expertise, right? So the very first thing that happens is initial screening, right? So initial screening, the purpose for initial screening is assess your general cybersecurity knowledge and communication skills. So you will be asked for infosec fundamentals, ethical hacking principles, and your motivation for pen testing. So be ready to explain why penetration testing matters and how it fits into a broader security strategy. Then happens your technical interview. So the purpose is to evaluate your practical knowledge and problem solving approach, right? So you will be asked for OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, the network protocols, the tools which you have used like Nmap, Burpsuit, Metasploit, Wireshark, the scripting in PowerShell, Bash or Python, exploitation techniques and privilege escalations. So you can expect scenario based questions like how would you exploit a misconfigured web server, or how do you approach Active Directory enumeration. So you should know all the tools that you use for them, right? Your strategy, how you strategize. Then practical assessment, test your hands-on skill in simulated environment. So you may be asked to perform reconnaissance and scanning, exploit vulnerabilities, document the findings and suggest mitigations, right? So for the practice you can use the platforms as I said, Valhub, try hack me, hack the box, right? Then reporting and communication. So the purpose for reporting and communication is gauge your ability to communicate technical findings to non-technical stakeholders. Write a sample vulnerability report. Explain risk severity and remediation steps. So you should use clear, structured language and avoid jargon when presenting to the executives. Right? Then you have behavioral and soft skill interview. So the purpose is to assess your ethics, teamwork, and client handling skills. Right? So question might include describe a time you found a critical vulnerability, or how do you handle scope creep during an engagement. So highlight your professionalism, discretion and ability to work under pressure, right? So this is the process, these are the things which happen in your interview, right? We'll be discussing the interview questions as well tomorrow for tomorrow's agenda, Right. So that was it for the day.